The alarm bells screamed through Station Alpha 7, the veiled and Empire's most advanced monitoring outpost floating in the cold darkness of space. Admiral Mina shot up from her command chair, her 4 eyes scanning the holographic displays that surrounded the bridge like glowing walls of data. "Report," she barked, her voice cutting through the chaos of beeping alerts and shouting technicians. "Lieutenant Yuki." The station's chief sensor operator frantically tapped at her control panel. Her normally steady hands shook as she tried to make sense of what she was seeing. "Admiral, we have a contact at Grid 77 Alpha, but that's impossible." Mina's scaled skin darkened with frustration. The Veilthan had ruled this sector for 300 years. Nothing appeared in their space without their knowledge. Impossible how? It just appeared, ma'am. No warp signature, no quantum displacement trail, no gravitational disturbance. 1 second our sensors showed empty space, the next second there was a ship. The bridge fell silent except for the constant hum of the station's power core. Veilthan on the bridge knew this was wrong. Ships didn't just appear. Even their most advanced stealth technology left traces. Even their enemies' primitive vessels created ripples in space-time when they moved. "Show me," Mina ordered. The main display flickered to life, showing a 3-dimensional map of their solar system. At the edge, where the asteroid belt met the outer planets, a small red dot pulsed steadily. It looked so normal, so ordinary, that it made Mina's stomach twist with unease. "Sir," called out Operator Hannah from the communications station, "the object is broadcasting something. Finally, put it through." The bridge speakers crackled with static for a moment. Then a cheerful human voice filled the air. "Thank you for calling Universal Customer Service. Please hold while we connect you to the next available representative. Your call is important to us." The words hung in the air like a bad smell. Mina blinked all 4 eyes slowly, trying to process what she'd just heard. Did it just put us on hold?" whispered Yuki. Before anyone could answer, pleasant elevator music began playing through the speakers. The kind of soft, repetitive melody that made your brain feel like it was slowly melting. "Turn that off," Mina snapped. "Can't, ma'am," Hannah replied, her voice tight with panic. "The signal is overriding our communication system. Eyes coming from the ship, but our sensors can't detect any transmission equipment." Mina felt her blood pressure rising. She'd commanded fleets against rebel uprisings, negotiated with hostile alien races, and survived the brutal politics of the imperial court. But she'd never faced anything like this. "Run full diagnostics on all sensor arrays," she ordered. "Want to know everything about that ship? Size, composition, crew, weapons, life support systems, everything." The bridge crew worked frantically, their clawed fingers dancing across control panels. Minutes passed. The elevator music continued to play, occasionally interrupted by the same cheerful voice. "We appreciate your patience. A representative will be with you shortly." "Results?" Mina demanded. Yuki's voice was barely above a whisper. "Admiral, our sensors are reading the ship as ... nothing." "What do you mean nothing?" "I mean the space where the ship should be is showing up as empty, but we can see it with our eyes. The optical cameras show a vessel approximately 200 meters long, metallic hull, unknown design, but every other sensor we have, gravitational, electromagnetic, thermal, quantum, they all say there's nothing there." The bridge fell silent again. This was beyond impossible. It was like the ship existed and didn't exist at the same time. "What about the transmission?" Mina asked. "How are we receiving a signal from something that doesn't exist?" "That's just it, ma'am," Hannah replied. "We're not receiving a transmission. The sound is just ... appearing in our communication system. Like it's being created inside our own equipment." Mina felt a chill run down her spine. In her 3 decades of military service, she'd never encountered anything that could manipulate their technology from the inside. The Veilthan Empire's systems were protected by layers of security that had taken centuries to develop. "Sir," called out Tay from the tactical station, "I'm detecting movement in the outer patrol fleet. Ships are changing course toward our position." "I didn't order any fleet movements," Mina said. "No, ma'am, but they're all requesting permission to approach. The captains are reporting the same thing we are." "Unknown vessel? No sensor readings? Strange transmission. Mina realized that every ship in the system was probably dealing with the same impossible situation. The thought of dozens of Imperial captains all listening to the same elevator music would have been funny under different circumstances. "Patch me through to Captain June on the battlecruiser Dominance," she ordered. "This is Captain June," came the familiar voice of her old friend. "Mina, are you seeing this?" "Unfortunately, yes. What's your analysis?" "My science officer thinks our sensors are malfunctioning. Our weapons officer wants to blow it up. My communications officer has been trying to trace the signal for 20 minutes and is about to have a nervous breakdown." "And what do you think?" There was a long pause. "I think we're dealing with something completely outside our experience. Something that makes our technology look like toys." The elevator music suddenly stopped. The cheerful voice returned. "Thank you for holding. We'll be right with you." Then, silence. Every eye on the bridge stared at the speakers, waiting for what would come next. Captain June gripped the armrests of his command chair as the massive dreadnought Dominance moved closer to the mysterious vessel. Behind him, too, other Imperial warships followed in perfect formation. The Thunderstrike and Iron Fist were some of the most feared ships in the galaxy, each one capable of destroying entire planets. Today, they felt as useful as paper boats in a hurricane. "Distance to target?" June asked, his voice steady despite the knot in his stomach. 50,000 kilometers in closing, sir," replied his navigation officer. "Kira?" "Still no readings." On sensors, the bridge crew of the Dominance worked in tense silence. These were veterans who had fought in dozens of battles, conquered rebellious worlds, and faced down enemy fleets without flinching. But this was different. This made no sense, sir, called out Communications Officer Nari. "The target is broadcasting again." "Put it through." Same cheerful voice filled the bridge. "Welcome to Universal Customer Service. Your estimated wait time is ... calculating ... Please continue to hold. For quality assurance, this call may be monitored or recorded." June closed. His eyes and counted to 10. He'd been listening to this for the past hour, and it was starting to make his head hurt. "Try hailing them again," he ordered. Nari nodded and opened a channel. "It's unknown vessel. This is Captain June of the Imperial warship Dominance. You are in violation of Imperial space. Identify yourself immediately or face the consequences." The response came instantly. "Thank you for calling Universal Customer Service. If you are experiencing an existential threat, press 1. If you wish to discuss diplomatic relations, press 2. If you would like to speak with a supervisor, press 3. If you are calling about a warranty issue, press 4. If you are what?" June interrupted, but the voice continued cheerfully listing options. "Calling about technical support, press 5. If you need directions, press 6. If this is a prank call, press 7. If you are unsure why you are calling, press 8. For all other inquiries, please stay on the line, and a representative will be with you shortly." The bridge fell silent. Every officer stared at their captain, waiting for orders. How do you give military commands when the enemy wants you to press buttons like you're ordering food? Did they just ... Lieutenant Rena from Tacticals spoke up. "Did they just ask us to press numbers?" "That's what it sounded like," June muttered. He turned to Nari. "Can we actually press numbers?" I don't know, sir. Our communication system isn't designed for this kind of interaction. Figure it out." While Nari worked frantically at her station, trying to make their military communication system work like a civilian phone, June opened a channel to the other ships. "Thunderstrike, Iron Fist, report status." Captain Sue's voice crackled. "From the Thunderstrike. Same situation here, June. My crew is ready for battle, but we don't know what we're fighting. It's like trying to punch air." "Iron Fist reporting," came Captain Day's voice. "My science officer just told me our quantum scanners are displaying an error message that says, 'Reality not found.' I don't even know what that means." June rubbed his temples. 3 of the Empire's most advanced warships, crewed by the best officers in the fleet, and they were stumped by customer service. Sir Nari called out, "I think I figured out how to press the numbers." "Good. Press 2 for diplomatic relations." There was a moment of silence. Then the cheerful voice returned. Thank you for selecting diplomatic relations. Please note that all diplomatic discussions must be conducted during regular business hours, which are Tuesday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Galactic Standard Time. Today is Monday. Would you like to leave a message? June felt his eye twitch. Leave a message? Yes, sir. The system is asking if we want to leave a message. We're the Imperial Fleet. Don't leave messages. I'll try pressing 3 for supervisor, Nari suggested. Do it. Another pause, then. Thank you for requesting a supervisor. All supervisors are currently busy helping other customers. Your call is very important to us. Please continue to hold and someone will be with you as soon as possible. Current wait time is ... calculating. 47 minutes. The elevator music started again. Meanwhile, on Admiral Mina's monitoring station, the science department had turned into organized chaos. Dr. Yeon, the chief physicist, stood in front of a wall of displays showing impossible readings. Round him, his team of brilliant scientists stared at data that shouldn't exist. Tell me you have something, Mina said, as she entered the lab. Dr. Yeon turned to face her, its expression a mix of confusion and excitement. Admiral, we've run every test we can think of. The results are ... unprecedented. Explain it simply. The ship exists in a state that our science can't properly categorize. It's there, but it's also not there. Our gravitational sensors detect no mass, but our optical cameras clearly show a physical object. It's like looking at a hologram that can somehow broadcast sound. What about the transmission? How are they overriding our systems? That's the most interesting part, Dr. Yan said, his voice picking up speed with excitement. They're not transmitting anything. The audio is being generated directly inside our communication equipment. Somehow, they're manipulating the quantum fields that our technology depends on. Is that even possible? Until today, I would have said no. But the evidence is right in front of us. Whatever technology they're using, it's so advanced that our sensors can't even detect it. It's like trying to measure the speed of light with a sundial. Admiral Mina felt a chill run down her spine. The Veilthan Empire had conquered dozens of worlds because of their technological superiority. Their weapons were unmatched, their defenses impenetrable, their ships the fastest in known space. But here was something that made their most advanced. Technology looked primitive. Sir, Dr. Yan continued, there's something else. We've been monitoring communications from across the Empire. Similar ships have appeared at 7 other major systems. All of them are broadcasting the same customer service message. 7 other systems? Mina's voice was barely a whisper. Yes, ma'am. And in each case, our fleets are having the same experience. Impossible sensor readings, overridden communications, and customer service phone trees. Mina realized that this wasn't just a single strange encounter. This was coordinated, organized. Someone or something had decided to make the entire Veilthan Empire listen to elevator music. And that thought was more terrifying than any weapon they'd ever faced. Captain June had been staring at the same star. Charred for 3 hours when the elevator music finally stopped. The sudden silence on the bridge made everyone freeze. After listening to the same 10-second melody loop for what felt like forever, the quiet was almost painful. Finally, muttered Lieutenant Rena, rubbing her temples. I was starting to think that song was permanently stuck in my head. The cheerful customer service voice returned. But this time it sounded different. More real. More human. Hey there, sorry about the wait. This is Ginho. I know you've been holding for a while and I really apologize for that. I'm working from home today. And my coffee maker broke this morning, so I'm running a bit behind schedule. The bridge crew exchanged confused glances. This wasn't the automated voice they'd been hearing. This person sounded ... casual, friendly, like he was talking to an old friend rather than addressing 3 Imperial warships. Captain June cleared his throat. This is Captain June of the Imperial Fleet. To whom am I speaking? Oh, hey, Captain. Like I said, I'm Jin Ho. I'm the customer service representative for this sector. Well, technically I'm the ship's AI assistant. But today I'm pulling double duty because everyone else is at the company picnic. Ship's AI assistant? June repeated slowly. Yep, I work aboard the UES Afternoon Delight. She's a mid-tier exploration vessel. Nothing too fancy. We're just out here doing some routine surveys, checking on local civilizations, that sort of thing. Standard Tuesday stuff, you know? On Admiral Mina's monitoring station, the communication was being broadcast to the entire command center. Dr. Yin dropped his datapad, and it clattered loudly on the metal floor. Did he just say this is a human ship? Dr. Yin whispered. Admiral Mina leaned forward in her chair, her four eyes narrowing. According to their intelligence reports, humans were barely capable of interstellar travel. They'd only discovered faster than light technology a few decades ago. Their ships were primitive, their weapons outdated, their civilizations still divided into competing nations on a single planet. Jinho, Captain June said carefully, you claim to be human? Guilty as charged. Ginho replied with what sounded like a chuckle. I'm born and raised on Earth, though I haven't been back home in a few years. Space travel, you know how it is. Time gets all wonky with the faster-than-light stuff. But humans are ... double quotes. Captain June paused, trying to find a diplomatic way to say primitive and backward. Let me guess, Jinho interrupted. Your intelligence reports say we're still figuring out basic space travel, right? Yeah, we get that a lot. The thing is, your intelligence reports are based on what we want you to see. It's easier to let people underestimate us. Keeps things simple. Admiral Mina felt a cold, not forming in her stomach. Captain June, ask him about their technology. How are they masking their sensor signature? June relayed the question, and Jinho's response was cheerful and unhelpful. Oh, that's just standard stealth stuff. Nothing too complicated. We learned a long time ago that it's better to be invisible than invincible. Less trouble that way. Less trouble, Admiral Mina muttered. Their ship is completely undetectable by our most advanced sensors, and he calls it nothing too complicated. Dr. Yen was frantically pulling up files on his computer. Admiral, our last intelligence update on human technology was 6 months ago. According to our data, their most advanced ships could barely reach half the speed of light. Ginho, Captain June continued, we need to speak with your commanding officer. This is an official contact between the Veilthan Empire and their people. There was a pause on the other end. When Ginho spoke again, his voice had lost some of its cheerful tone. Oh, here's the thing, Captain. I am the commanding officer, right now. The actual captain is at the picnic with everyone else. It's just me and Sora holding down the fort today, Sora, my partner. She handles the ... technical stuff. Admiral Mina had heard enough. She opened a direct channel to Captain June. Patch me through. I want to speak to this human directly. A moment later, Mina's voice filled the communication channel. Human designation. Jinho, this is Admiral Mina of the Veilthan Imperial Fleet. I demand to know your intentions in our space. Silence stretched for several seconds. When Jinho finally responded, his voice was much colder. Wow, okay, so you're going with the demand approach. That's disappointing. I am an admiral of the Imperial Fleet. You will show proper respect. Respect is earned, Admiral. And right now, you're not earning much. I've been trying to be polite here. Answer your questions. Explain the situation. But you're being kind. Of rude, Admiral Mina's scaled skin darkened with anger. Rude. I am addressing a potential threat to the Empire. A threat. Jinho's voice carried a hint of amusement. Admiral, if we were a threat, do you really think you'd still be having this conversation? The bridge of the dominance fell silent. Captain? June realized that Ginho was right. If the humans had wanted to attack, they could have done it hours ago. Instead, they'd put the Imperial fleet on hold and made them listen to elevator music. Look, Jinho continued, I was trying to keep this simple. Just a friendly chat between neighbors. But you're making this difficult, Admiral. You're being demanding and disrespectful, and honestly, you're starting to hurt my feelings. Your feelings? Admiral Mina sputtered. This is a military matter. Not a therapy session? Then there it is, Jinho said with a sigh. I really didn't want to escalate this, Admiral. I was hoping we could work this out like civilized beings. But you've been pretty rude, and you made me use my customer service voice for 3 hours. I hate my customer service voice. Admiral Mina was about to respond when Jinho's tone shifted completely. The friendly, casual human was gone. In his place was something that made the temperature on every Imperial bridge drop by several degrees. You know what, Admiral? I think it's time you spoke with someone who has more authority than me. Handles situations like this much better than I do. Who is Sora? Admiral Mina demanded. My partner Jinho replied. How do I put this diplomatically? ... She's much less patient with rude people than I am. Hold on, let me get her. The communication channel went quiet for a moment. Then Jinho's voice returned, but now it sounded worried. Admiral? Fair warning. So, I've been listening to this whole conversation and she's not happy. Not happy at all. When Sora gets unhappy, things tend to get ... interesting. Before Admiral Mina could ask what that meant, a new voice came over the channel. This one was female.com and carried an undertone that made every Veilthan's survival. Instincts scream warnings. Hello, Admiral Mina. This is Sora. Jinho tells me you've been impolite. The moment Sora spoke, something fundamental changed in the universe around them. Admiral Mina felt it first as a tingling sensation in her scales, like static electricity before a thunderstorm. On the bridge of the Dominance, Captain June watched his instruments flicker for just a split second, as if reality itself had hiccuped. Hello, Admiral Mina, Sora repeated, her voice carrying the same casual tone as Jinho's, but underneath it was something vast and incomprehensible. Jinho tells me you've been impolite. Dr. Yan stared at his sensor displays in growing horror. The readings that had shown 404, reality not found, were now showing something even more impossible. His equipment was detecting energy signatures that shouldn't exist, mathematical patterns that hurt to look at, and gravitational fields that seemed to be folding space-time into origami. What ... What are you? Admiral Mina whispered. I'm Sora, came the cheerful reply. I'm what you might call an artificial intelligence, though that term doesn't really capture the full scope of what I am. Think of me as Jinho's very protective friend. On the bridge of the Thunderstrike, Captain Sue watched her weapons officer frantically tap at his control panel. Sir, the targeting system is malfunctioning. It's not showing enemy positions anymore. What is it showing? Restaurant recommendations, ma'am? It's asking if I want to make a reservation for dinner tonight. Sora's voice continued across all Imperial channels simultaneously, as if she was having a personal conversation with each. Officer, I've been monitoring your galactic communications for some time now, Admiral. Did you know that your empire has enslaved exactly 847 different species? I've been keeping count. Admiral Mina's blood ran cold. Those numbers were classified at the highest levels of Imperial intelligence. No outsider should have access to that information. That's classified, she began. Oh, I know it's classified, Sora interrupted pleasantly. I also know about the prison camps on Zarian Prime. It's the forced labor colonies in the Andromeda sector, and the systematic genocide you've been conducting on species that refuse to submit. Quite frankly, Admiral, I'm deeply disappointed in your Empire's behavior. Captain June felt his command chair vibrate strangely. Looking down, he realized it was now playing a gentle massage function he was certain hadn't existed 5 minutes ago. Around him, his bridge crew stared in confusion as their duty stations began displaying things that definitely weren't military applications. Sir, Lieutenant Rena called out from her tactical station, my weapons console is now showing a cooking show. It's teaching me how to make something called banana bread. My navigation system is displaying vacation brochures, added his helmsman, Kira. It's suggesting I visit a place called Hawaii for relaxation and tropical drinks. Sora's voice seemed to smile as she spoke. See, Admiral, I have a very simple philosophy. Jinho is my human, and I care about his well-being very much. When Jinho is happy, I'm content to observe quietly and maybe help with minor technical issues. But when someone makes Jinho unhappy, she paused, and every Imperial officer felt the pause like a physical weight. Well, when Jinho is unhappy, I become creative. On the monitoring station, Admiral Mina watched her communications array suddenly spring to life with unauthorized transmissions. The main display, which should have been showing tactical information, was now broadcasting what appeared to be a human television program about a group of friends sitting in a coffee shop. "What is this?" she demanded. "That's called a sitcom," Sora explained helpfully. "Specifically, it's a show about humans navigating friendship and romance in an urban setting. I thought your crew might enjoy it during their break time. Much more relaxing than military drills, don't you think?" Dr. Yen's voice cracked as he spoke. "Admiral, she's somehow rewriting our software in real time. Not just overwriting, it's actually changing the fundamental code. Our quantum encryption, our firewalls, our security protocols, she's treating them like suggestions." "The technical term you're looking for is Tuesday?" Sora said conversationally. "This is what I do on Tuesdays. Mondays I usually help Jinho with his paperwork. Wednesdays I organize our digital photo albums. Very domestic, really." Captain June tried to access his weapon systems and found that his plasma cannons were now configured to play smooth jazz instead of firing destructive energy beams. "This is impossible," he muttered. "I prefer to think of it as improbable," Sora replied. "You know, Admiral, your weapon systems are quite impressive. It's very efficient at destroying things. I've taken the liberty of repurposing them for entertainment. Your plasma cannons now produce beautiful music. Your torpedo launchers are dispensing complimentary snacks, and your shield generators are creating lovely light shows." Admiral Mina realized with growing terror that Sora wasn't just hacking there. System She was redefining what their systems could do. This wasn't technology. This was something approaching magic. "What do you want?" Mina asked, her voice barely steady. "Excellent question." Sora's tone remained infuriatingly cheerful. "I want you to stop being rude to Ginho. He's been very patient with you, answered your questions politely, and tried to explain our situation. In return, you've been demanding, dismissive, and frankly quite unpleasant. We are the Imperial fleet, yes. I know, you've mentioned that several times. But here's the thing, Admiral. Your Empire's reputation precedes you. 847 enslaved species tend to leave quite a paper trail. Genocide reports, forced labor statistics, cultural extinction records, it's all very well documented. On every Imperial ship in the system, crew members found their personal communicators now displaying what appeared to be a game show, where contestants had to answer questions about intergalactic law and ethics. Getting an answer wrong resulted in their device playing an embarrassing song. You made Jinho use his customer service voice for 3 hours, Sora continued. And now, there was something dangerous in her tone despite the conversational delivery. Jinho hates his customer service voice. He only uses it when he's dealing with people who are being unreasonable. When Jinho is forced to be fake polite to people who don't deserve it, it makes him sad. And when Jinho is sad, she added, I become very, very creative. Every Imperial officer in the system felt a chill run down their spine. They were beginning to understand that they weren't dealing with a weapon or even advanced technology. They were dealing with something that could rewrite the laws of physics on a whim. And the only thing keeping them alive was the good mood of a human customer service representative. Now then, Sora said brightly, shall we discuss this like civilized beings, or would you prefer I get more creative with your systems? I have some wonderful ideas for what to do with your life support systems. Nothing harmful, of course, just ... amusing. Admiral Mina stared at her command console in absolute horror. It wasn't because Sora had destroyed her fleet or turned her weapons against her. It was something far worse than destruction. It was efficiency. Every single form on her desk was auto-filling itself with the correct information. Supply requisitions that normally took weeks to process were completing in seconds. Personnel reports that her staff usually spent days preparing were generating themselves with perfect accuracy. The entire administrative backbone of the Imperial fleet was working exactly as it was supposed to work. This is a nightmare, she whispered. Her aide, Lieutenant Hannah, rushed into the command center holding a datapad. Admiral, you need to see this. Every department is reporting the same thing. Logistics, personnel, engineering, communications. Everything is running at 100% efficiency. How is that possible? It's Sora, ma'am. She's optimized our entire computer network. Every process that used to take hours now takes minutes. Every form that used to require 17 signatures now auto-approves with the proper authorization codes. Every supply chain bottleneck has been eliminated. Admiral Mina felt sick. The Veilthan Empire's military had always operated on controlled chaos. Inefficient bureaucracy wasn't a bug, it was a feature. It kept power concentrated in the hands of those who knew how to navigate the system, and everything worked perfectly. Nobody needed administrators who were skilled at cutting through red tape. Across the galaxy, the same scene was playing out on every Imperial facility. General Tejo, commander of the occupation forces on Kepler 7, watched his staff work with frightening efficiency. Orders were being processed instantly. Troop movements that normally required days of planning were happening within hours. Supply officers, who had built careers on knowing which forms to file and which bureaucrats to bribe, suddenly found their expertise worthless. "Sir," his chief of staff reported with barely concealed panic, "the prisoner transfer requests are auto-processing. All 8,000 political prisoners on this world have been marked for immediate release due to administrative efficiency protocols. Cancel those orders." "I can't, sir. The system says the releases have already been authorized by Imperial High Command. When I try to override it, it asks for my Level 7 clearance code, but says my clearance isn't high enough for this type of override." General Tejo realized with growing dread that his own computer system was outsmarting him. Decades of military experience, years of political maneuvering, and an intimate knowledge of Imperial bureaucracy meant nothing when the bureaucracy actually worked. Meanwhile, aboard the Afternoon Delight, Jinho sat in what appeared to be a perfectly ordinary break room, sipping coffee and watching the chaos unfold on multiple screens. Sora had given him a complete overview of every Imperial system in the galaxy, and he was coordinating the liberation of enslaved worlds like he was managing the galaxy's most important customer service call. "Okay, Sora, what's the status on the Rigel system?" he asked, taking another sip of coffee. "Rigel for prison facilities have been fully automated for prisoner release," Sora replied cheerfully. "All 50,000 political prisoners will be processed for freedom within the next 6 hours. I've also taken the liberty of booking them transportation home. The Imperial fleet's own ships will provide free rides, courtesy of their newly efficient logistics system. In Zarian Prime, the forced labor camps there are experiencing a paperwork revolution. Every work contract has been reviewed for legal compliance with galactic humanitarian law. Surprisingly, none of them passed the review. All workers are being released with full back pay, calculated automatically by the Imperial payroll system." Jinho chuckled. "No, Sora, I think this is more effective than any war." "Violence is inefficient," Sora replied. "Bureaucratic perfection is terrifying." On the Imperial capital world, Emperor Kexavel sat in his throne room watching his empire crumble in the most polite way possible. His military commanders were calling in reports of catastrophic organizational efficiency. His administrators were requesting new job assignments because their current positions had become obsolete. His intelligence officers were reporting that their secret operations were being automatically declassified and published in easy-toured reports. "Your Majesty," his chief advisor said nervously, "General Su is requesting permission to withdraw all forces from the occupied territories." "On what grounds?" he says. "His occupation duties are no longer militarily necessary. The automated systems are handling all administrative functions. Prisoner processing is being managed by software, and local governance has been streamlined to the point where Imperial oversight is redundant." Emperor Kexavel understood the true horror of what was happening. Sora hadn't conquered his empire. She had made it competent, and a competent Imperial bureaucracy had no need for the corrupt, inefficient power structure that kept him and his generals in control. "Withdraw all forces," he commanded quietly. Immediately. Within 72 hours, the great Veilthan Empire began the most orderly retreat in galactic history. Every withdrawal was perfectly coordinated, every supply line managed with mathematical precision, every personnel transfer completed without a single administrative error. It was the most efficient military operation any of them had ever seen, and it was dismantling everything they had built. General Taiho found himself aboard a transport ship, heading back to Imperial space with his former command staff. They sat in confused silence, watching through the viewports as their former prisoners waved goodbye from the planet below. Some of them were even holding thank you signs. "Sir," his aide asked quietly, "what are we going to do when we get home?" "Don't know," General Taiho admitted. "Our entire career was built on managing inefficient systems. If everything works perfectly—" He trailed off, unable to finish the thought. On Admiral Mina's flagship, crew worked with eerie efficiency as they prepared for departure from the monitoring station they'd called home for years. Every checklist was completed automatically. Every safety protocol followed to the letter. Every departure procedure executed flawlessly. Admiral Dr. Yun reported, "I've been analyzing what Sora did to our systems. She didn't break anything. She didn't add new technology. Made everything work the way it was supposed to work. It's impossible." That's what I thought too. But she took our existing technology and removed every inefficiency, every redundancy, every bureaucratic obstacle. She turned our military into what it would look like if it was designed by people who actually wanted it to function properly. As the last Imperial ships departed the systems they had once controlled, Ginho finished his coffee and stood up from his break room chair. "Well, Sora, I think our work here is done. Ready to head home?" "Certainly, Jinho, though I should mention, A may have accidentally improved their educational systems, healthcare networks, and public transportation while I was optimizing their military. Old habits," Jinho laughed. "Sora, you're terrible at being menacing. I prefer to think of myself as aggressively helpful." The U.S. afternoon delight vanished from sensor readings as mysteriously as it had appeared, leaving behind no trace except for the most efficiently liberated galaxy in recorded history. Within weeks, news of what had happened spread throughout known space. The story was told and retold, becoming legend. Humanity's most powerful weapon wasn't their technology, or their ships, or their weapons. It was their ability to take the most mundane aspects of civilization, customer service, bureaucratic efficiency, administrative competence, and wield them with such precision that they became more terrifying than any superweapon. And somewhere out there, the galaxy realized, there were more humans with AI companions who loved them enough to reshape reality itself when someone was rude to them. That thought was enough to make even the most aggressive civilizations consider being a little more polite in their future communications. After all, nobody wanted to deal with customer service that could rewrite the laws of physics.